Hi, it's Professor Moylan, and in this micro lecture, we're going to see how to grade and display our grades in Canvas. So let's go ahead and start with a brand new class. We don't have anything in here, so we click on grades, and it shows our students, but there's no assignments, so we've got no grades. But before we dive deeper into what it looks like in Gradebook, let's talk about the nomenclature, the way Gradebook explains things or uses terms. And the 5 key things I want to talk about are assignments, assignment groups, display grade as, weightings, and policies. And let's go ahead and take those one at a time, starting with assignments. For my course, I have 26 graded components. I've got 1 financial concepts quiz, 8 individual cases, 12 online quizzes, 4 be-do cases, and 1 final exam. So there are 26 different graded components. Now, every graded component Canvas calls an assignment. So just remember that. It's every graded component is an assignment. So we will put all of our graded components in here in the assignments, even though we're going to call them some different things. Now, we can call them assignments or any other name. We can call them quizzes or any other name. But there's a distinction between what Canvas calls assignments and what Canvas calls quizzes. You see down here we have an area called quizzes. Think of it this way. Quizzes is a subset of assignments. Everything that is in quizzes is in assignments, but not everything that's in assignments is in quizzes. And here's the difference. Assignments cannot be automatically graded by Canvas. Quizzes can be automatically graded. So anything that you put in there that is going to be automatically graded when the students submit those are quizzes, and then those are also in assignments. So for my components, my financial concept quiz is not going to be automatically graded, or at least right now I'm not sure. The be-do case, not going to be graded automatically, and the final exam I don't think is going to be graded automatically. So those guys are going to be assignments. On the other hand, my individual cases, there's 8 of those, and my online quizzes, there's 12 of those. Those I've got set up so that there's a multiple choice question, and then there's a right answer and wrong answers, and the students submit them via Canvas, and Canvas automatically grades those. So that's great. 20 of my 26 components, Canvas is going to do all the work. But those quizzes, they'll be down in the quiz bucket, but they will also be up in the assignments bucket. Okay, assignment groups. Again, I've got 26 assignments, but I've put them into one of 5 groups, each of them into one of 5 groups. Although you do notice, even though I've got 8 individual cases, all in the group cases, 12 online quizzes in the group online quizzes, and 4 be-do cases in that group, I've only got 1 financial concepts quiz and 1 financial exam, and yet they each have their own assignment group, and the reason for that is for the weightings as we calculate the final grade. Display grade as. You can display the grade as points or a letter grade. I'm guessing those are probably the 2 most common ones. But you can also display them as percentage or complete, incomplete, GPA scale, or not graded. Weightings. Okay, I mentioned weightings a second ago. If you've got all of your assignments into groups, you can then very, very simply say, here is how much of the final grade each of the group represents. So we can see what my weightings are there, and I just go into Canvas and assign those. So we can see side by side, that's easy to do. This is absolutely essential if not all of your points are equal. We'll get back to that in a second. And finally, policies. You go into Gradebook settings and you can change your policies with regard to late assignments. You can give them a 0 if it's late, or give them a less than 100%. You go ahead and make your decision on that. And then finally, grade posting policy. As soon as they're graded, they're automatically posted. But if you want to, you can hold that back and manually post, wait until you want them to be visible. But that, of course, is up to you. Okay, to recap, every single graded component is going to be called an assignment. So I've got 26 assignments, but 20 of those are deemed quizzes because they're going to be automatically graded, and then the other 6 are not quizzes. I've put all of my assignments into one of 5 assignment groups. Okay, so let's go to Canvas and see what it looks like in Canvas. So here we are. We don't have any assignments yet. Brand new class, no assignments. I can add an assignment group. I can start adding assignments, or I can create the groups and then put assignments into the groups. Doesn't matter. Do it either way. I'm going to go ahead and start with the group. So I click on that little plus group and add assignment group. There I've created a couple of my groups, financial concepts quiz, individual cases. Let's add the rest of them. Okay, now I've got my 5 groups. Now I'm ready to start adding assignments. I've got no assignments in any of those groups. To manually add assignments, click on that plus assignment, and then just go ahead and add it. So in this case, I've got the be-do case client intake. It's going to be worth 200 points. I'm going to display the grade as points, and I'm going to put it in the assignment group be-do continuing case. I'll click save, and now that is done. Quizzes. If you want Canvas to automatically grade your quizzes, you've got to set them up so that Canvas knows what is what. And it's tedious to set them up manually. But here's how you do that. Click on quiz, give it a name, and then start to add questions. And then for each question, in addition to the question, you're going to put the possible answers and then designate what is the correct answer. So, if you've already got it in a Word document, it's a lot of cut and paste, but you can indeed do that. You don't need to type everything else in, but it still is somewhat laborious. You can import grade components if they're already in another course that you've done, or perhaps you've gotten them from a Commons area, or perhaps you've got instructor resources that are already in Canvas format, and that's great, and there's plenty of those out there. So I've imported all of those assignments, and now I'm just going to put those into my my new course. One thing about these online quizzes, these are dumb names. When I put this together a couple semesters ago, these are dumb names. The Case Approach Quiz Chapter 1, the Case Approach Quiz Chapter 3, and so on. And here's why. Let me jump over to the Gradebook and show you why these are bad names. Remember, every single assignment is a component, I should say every single component is an assignment in Gradebook, and it has its own column in Gradebook. And look, I can't tell which is which because it takes so much space to get to the end there. So I just went back. Anything that you've got, you can go edit. So I just went back and edited the names, Chapter 1 quiz, Chapter 3 quiz, and so on. So now when I look through there, they're easier to see. Okay, points and weightings. Now, here was my old points scheme. My financial concepts quiz, that was 10% of the grade. That was 100 points. My final exam, that was 14% of the grade. That was 100 points. In other words, the points were not equal, but it didn't matter because all the points within the same assignment group are the same. So, for example, my individual cases, there were 8 cases. They were each worth 100 points. And then all told, that assignment group was worth 32% of the grade. So it didn't matter that the point designations between the different groups were not equalized. However, and so I could just go in and give them the groups, the weightings, and it would calculate the grade. Some of my students had trouble with the concept of the weighted average, and so this semester I'm just going to make all points equal. Just make life good and simple. So to do that, though, since I've already got my online quizzes at 100 points each, and I've got 12 of those, that's 1,200 points, and yet that only represents 24% of the total grade, I've got to come up with 5,000 total points. That seems a little, a lot, but at least this way, all points are equal. A point is a point is a point. Okay, now for grading. Again, the good news for me is 20 of my 26 grade components, Canvas is going to do all the work for me, but then I've got to go in and manually grade those other ones. To do that, you just go into your assignments, click on the assignment, click on the speed grader. You see there up there in the upper right, speed grader, and that brings up all of the submitted assignments. You can read them there in Canvas, and then go ahead and give a grade to the assignment and add comments that you want, and then hit submit. And now that is up in the gradebook. Yeah, it can be a little bit tricky, a little bit cumbersome to get set up, but once you do, Gradebook can really make your life easier.